Hi, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. I am Morris Merriweather, the host of Straight Talking Room 503, and the author of Enough is Enough, Public Education Inspired Out of Control. Text a friend, tweet a friend, call a friend, tell a friend, Facebook a friend, snapshot a friend. Let them know that Professor Merriweather is back in class, and you don't want to miss what he's talking about because he's going to bring the unadulterated message of truth this week. Ladies and gentlemen, as I normally say, what's going on in my hometown is also going on in your hometown. The players are just different. Just listen to what I have to say. But students, you can put your textbook up. The only thing you're going to need is paper and pencil and pen, and your attention, your open mind. So at this time, the subject for today is standing in the gap. Standing in the gap. That's what Professor Baxter and Professor Merriweather has been doing for a long time. Standing in the gap. I thank Reverend Baxter, and I want to say that to you personally today, Reverend Baxter, that I didn't draft you. You volunteered to say, I'll stand in the gap with you for the children. When you and I came along, Professor Baxter, and some of the other members in the class, we had people who would stand in the gap for all children, and in particular children of color, those who was going against the prick, those who needed the extra help. I remember quite well Mr. Judge Clarence Boone always have stood in the gap. Professor James Buchanan, Marilyn Monroe, Miss Monroe, a teacher at Mary High School, Miss Genevieve Brooks, who stood in the gap. And we had many more people, pastors. They at that time, all of the pastors was together. M.D. Merriweather, Cleo Boyd, people stood in the gap. President Wesley Cornelius McClure. And it goes on and on and on, the people who stood in the gap, students. But today, we got our PhDs, and we got our Mercedes, and we got our SUVs and Volvos and Audis and Expeditions and all of those luxury cars, living next door to people who don't want to live next door to us, able to go to Goldsmith and Macy's and go out to eat at the nicest restaurant, got our little threads on us, some of you know what I'm talking about, your clothes. And you can't tell us nothing. We got jewelry. We something nowadays. But we're not willing to stand in the gap. We'll show up on Sunday morning. We call ourselves, can't beat us in church, boy. We be praising God, jumping up on the floor, want to do a praise dance, and preach, Reverend, and we something else. But when it comes down to Monday morning, standing in the gap for our children, Professor Merriweather and Professor Baxter can't find them. But I have a dear friend, Henry Ramey, who is I see you back there in class, Henry, who lives in Virginia. And each week he makes sure that he's in class. Not only in present, he'll make contact with me and say, whatever you need. If it's finances, you holler at me. If you need me to get in my car or catch a plane to come down there and stand in the gap with you, don't hesitate. But then yet I have people that I see and walk with daily, who I work with daily, who we are supposed to be so-called friends and brothers, will not stand in the gap with me. Hadn't asked me yet. But let me, I don't want you to get the idea that I'm complaining. I'm not a complainer. I'm too blessed to be complaining. So listen, I'm just making a point. The Lord Jesus Christ didn't pick but 12. And I'm up to 4 now. Don't have more further to go. But listen, there are not people knocking on my door, ringing my cell phone, coming by and talking to me and saying, look, I want to stand in the gap with you. But that's all right. I'm going to continue to do the will of a father. I'm a missionary. So I'm about to follow my father's business. I wish you would be about your father's business as well. But listen to this. This is in my local paper, the Jackson Sun. It says here, Mayor Gist and I have a good relationship. So I'm not talking about him. But this is about city. Listen, city takes over humane society. They care about the animals. But they don't care about all of the children. They care about the animals. And don't get me wrong, you animal lovers. Don't even think about it. Mr. Merriweather, he don't like animals. I've had a dog and got a cat present somewhere hanging around here in my classroom now. So don't give me that crap, but I don't care nothing about animals. I'm making a point here. I hope you get it. Get sent the city plan for the animal center to remain at its location until enough funds. It can stay there till we continue to raise funds to have a new building, new animal care center built. The city of Jackson has set aside, look at this, $270,000 for a new animal care facility. They set aside that much money. And ladies and gentlemen, in the schools where people of color hadn't been no set aside money. In fact, they allowed the buildings to deteriorate. And at the school that I'll be talking about shortly, Lincoln School, where I grew up, was raining in the school over 30-something years ago. And I visited the school a month or so ago. And if you don't think I'm telling the truth, call the principal of Lincoln Elementary School on Berry Street in Jackson, Tennessee, and said Professor Merriweather said the roof is still leaking. That when it rains, you have to put buckets in the hallway, just like when he was in school, and see what she tell you. She'll tell you it's the truth. You can check anything I say in my class, you check it out. That's true. But ladies and gentlemen, isn't that sad? They can't keep our building up. They can't make sure that our children get an adequate education, but they can provide $240,000 for the animals. And watch this here. West Tennessee Healthcare, which is a larger employer in the Jackson, Tennessee area, will contribute $150,000 per year. Listen, I didn't say one time. I said it will continue to place $150,000 for the dogs and the cats and the squirrels. Look at here. Watch this here. We want to talk about something else. Now, listen. I have talked with the president of the historical black college, Lane College, where I graduated from, made the suggestion to the president that due to the fact that you don't have a teaching program, and Lane was the program that provided the teachers in my hometown area, but they lost their accreditation. And ladies and gentlemen, they're unable to provide a teaching program at this present time. I understand that they're working on it, and Reverend Baxter and I personally went by and sat down and talked with the president about it. Made suggestions that why don't the people who are shaking and grinning and saying we with you, Doc, and all of that, why haven't they put the money where the mouth is? Why haven't the city is willing to build a shelter and West Tennessee Healthcare is willing to contribute $150,000? Why is no one contributing toward the teaching program? Let me slow it down and talk where you can really get this one. Why is no one has contacted President Hampton from West Tennessee Healthcare, faith-based community, sororities and fraternities, civil rights organization, and said, we're going to help you to get your teaching program back? Hello? Why haven't some of the colleges in the area, Memphis State, University of Memphis, and on the Lambos campus, I'll get it out, University of Tennessee, Freed-Hardeman University, those are right in our backyard. Why haven't they said, we're going to assist you in getting your program together, because there is a shortage of black males in the teaching profession, and there's a shortage of black teachers. I understand that in a predominant black school system, most of the teachers look like me and not like you. We're going to help you. But we so busy going to the chamber meeting and Rotary Club. Hey, what's going on, Doc? And our holiday going on. And then when we leave, we don't have nothing to take back to our community. I'm just not that way. So, ladies and gentlemen, what a sad commentary that we can't get the program that will put teachers back in the school system of color, but yet we can take care of the animals. I'm all for taking care of the animals. Don't give me that crap about he don't care, he don't like the animals. I may not like you, but I love you in spite of you. So anyway, let's just think about that for a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share this because this touched the heart of Reverend Baxter now this week. It doesn't have anything to do with education, but this show is about telling the message true. I happen to have been in one of the stores here in Jackson. I won't call the name of the store. Don't want to send out any information. But one of the stores, and when I got to the cashier, I was talking with the person and asked them how was things going, and the manager related to me that I just got back from court, and I said, "Oh, you having problems? I hope everything's well." He said, "No, one of my employees stole some money from the store, stole the deposit." And I said, "I'm sorry to hear that." I said, "How long she been with you?" She had been with me a year, and she said, "I trust her, and I just can understand why she would do something like that." She stole $3,100. And I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about that." And so she said, I said, "Well, does she have children?" She has a 7-year-old daughter. Immediately when you talk about children, I'm touched. 7-year-old daughter. And she said, I sit there with her, and she was responding to the investigator. And she said, I was saying, "Oh, I wouldn't say that." And I said, "Well, did she have an attorney?" Well, she had a public defender. And she said, "You know how that go." Even this lady knew that public defenders don't represent us as well as paid lawyers do. She had that much in. She said, "I just really hate it because she's a good worker. And now she had a record. She's a felon now." And I said, "Well, I'm really sorry to hear about that." And she says, I said, "Well, let me think. Maybe it's something that we can do to assist her. I really hate it for the 7-year-old girl." I said, "You would happen to know the reason why she stole the money?" And she said that her uncle had passed and there was not enough money to bury him. And she was trying to steal some money to bury Uncle Ben. And I thought, man, what a sad commentary. One of the first things that I was made sure to do was to make sure that I purchased a life insurance policy that had enough to pay the bills off and bury me. I didn't want the hardship on my family. But ladies and gentlemen, we live in a time now when people are not preparing for the inevitable. We know we're going to pass and we're going to die. And I've attended at least 2 or 3 funerals in the last 2 or 3 months where the family did not have enough money to bury their loved one. But yet they was bumping and hollering and partying and drinking with so-and-so, and now Bubba gone and we can't even bury him. I was with several people that could not bury their loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to make preparation for the hereafter. I'm prepared. Everything is taken care of. We won't have to nickel and dime to get Professor Merriweather in the graveyard. All of that has been taken care of. And I'm blessed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody else. I'm just saying what a sad commentary that a young lady now have a record as a felon will have a problem for the rest of her life because she was trying to bury her uncle. When the good old time was going on, the drinking and the smoking and the laughing and the buying and the purchasing and the eating, you need to put away a little bit. That's what the squirrels do. I look around and I see the squirrel preparing for winter, and we got people not preparing for death. That's a sad commentary. But Reverend Baxter was so moved by it that he is in the process of trying to see what he can do to assist her. But that little 7-year-old girl will be a part of the cycle. Because when I had school, a lot of my children said, "My daddy in jail." They ain't that. My daddy went to jail. And we got too many young ladies who are allowing these men to get it and go. Let me talk plain with you. They drive in and drive out and they gone. And then our children is growing up without fathers, without people who can take care of them. It's a sad commentary. That's why a lot of the guys you see are joining gangs. They don't feel belong and love. And they're shooting each other on the street because they want respect. Everybody want respect. Man, you dissing me and all that kind of stuff. We're in big trouble. I have a lot of people telling me, "Well, I'm gonna go in my prayer closet, Mr. Merrill, and I'll be praying for you, and I'll be praying for the children." It's not what you do in your prayer closet; it's what you do when you come out of your prayer closet that I'm looking for. I don't know what you and God talked about when you went in there, but I do know when you come out, it's as if you didn't go in because I don't see you standing in the gap. Just for a few moments, I want to deal with this little phrase here. What have you got now? What have you got now? Let's listen to Donald Trump. Donald Trump said your schools are in bad shape. Students, is that true or false? True. Your communities are in bad shape. Students, true or false? That's true. What do you have to lose by joining Professor Baxter and Meriwether? We're standing in the gap and we're asking you to stand in the gap. What have you got to lose by not joining Professor Baxter and I? God will use what you have now, not what you lost, what you have now. And you got everything going for you. You can sit around watching TV, watching what the haves had, and you one of the have-nots. That doesn't make any sense. I don't want you to miss the victory party messing with people who are trying to defeat you. Don't miss the victory party messing with people who doesn't care about you nor your children. But yet, we're coming up on election year, and you're going to be busy helping putting them in office. Hadn't heard a word from you about Professor Meriwether. I'm going to be with you, not only in lip, but I'm going to support you financially. And if I need to get out there with you, you count on me. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to look at it. Look at what's happened. Reverend Baxter and I had just met with one of the school board members. We out in the community working daily. And when we was working out there, we knew that one of the candidates for governor, there's a way to put it, was coming to meet with this gentleman. And so Reverend Baxter and I was on the parking lot talking. Up drove the man running for governor. I didn't remember his last name. In fact, I'm going to forget his last name. His last name is Boyd. He's a Republican running for governor. We noticed that there was a black guy that was in the front, was a driver. All he was dressed up in one of those $300 or $400 suits. The governor got out. The governor was in the back seat along with another white guy. The governor was in the front seat and there was another white gentleman in the back. And the brother was driving. Well, when they parked the car, we were within less than 15 feet of him. We looked up at him, and Reverend Baxter and I have been raised right, so we know that when we meet people that we haven't met before, even if we do know, we say, how you doing? So we said, hey, how you doing? The brother had his suit on, and he looked dead in our face, and he didn't say anything. And the governor, he was within 15 feet of us, running for governor, need votes. Did not see the importance of walking over to two brothers. And we was looking decent when we weren't looking like we were gangbangers. Didn't walk over because he knew we lived in the state of Tennessee. Hopefully he knew that. I would have came over and said, I'm running for governor and I'm Mr. Boyd and would appreciate your vote. But he didn't see, he looked at it, he said, oh, them two black guys. He turned his head, didn't say nothing, along with the other white guy. So I said to Reverend Baxter, my, driving Miss Daisy didn't even speak. I said, and the governor, guy running for governor, and you're not going to recognize two, that could have been the two votes that have helped. Listen, nobody got any more votes than but one vote. We could have been the two votes that pushed him in office. You never know, ladies and gentlemen, you got to treat everybody right, because you don't know who you're going to need. And I said to him, listen, if we quit letting them disrespect us and quit voting for people we don't know a damn thing about, that's what we need to do. You don't want to listen to Professor Meriwether and Reverend Baxter, but you'll listen to people that don't even have you nor your children interests at heart. Aren't you very intelligent? Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you got to miss it to make it. Listen to that statement, students. Sometimes you got to miss it to make it. Some of you have missed the opportunity to improve public education, but you got a chance now to make it happen. How do we do that, Professor Meriwether? You work with Reverend James Baxter and myself, because we're out there and we got the data. We know the players. We know what needs to be done. He's an educator. I'm an educator. And we know what needs to be done. We just wish you would join us. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say to the people in my hometown area here that this coming Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, to 8 o'clock on channel 39, channel WNBJ. WNBJ in the city of Jackson, Tennessee, this Sunday and next Sunday. Reverend Baxter and I will show you the area of East Jackson where the good old boys don't want to invest in, where they have closed the schools in, and I will take you on a tour, and show you the East Jackson community and talk about the people who have been influential and have moved this community. I'm going to show you the people, our foreparents, some of them are living, people that lived in the East Jackson community, in the District 6, where I'm running for school board. I will show you some of the prestigious people. And when I say prestigious, I'm not talking lawyers and doctors. I'm going to give you the whole gamut of people who have contributed, educators and all, to the East Jackson community and have brought up a generation that is all over the world making a difference. Indian chief, doctors, lawyers, and Indian chief. So join me this Sunday as we look into our community and look at the rich heritage that we have in our community, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe that will be something that will spur your heart and conscience that you want to join the fight and stand in the gap for all children. Join us this Sunday on Channel 39 at 7 to 10, Gospel on the Move. The host is Reverend James Baxter. Then join us next Sunday, same channel, 39. And what was that? That was, let me go back and pick it up again. I want to make sure that I give you the call letters, which is WNBJ, channel 39, next Sunday. Next Sunday, we're going to tour one of the private schools, the University School of Jackson. I want to show you that. And then we want to show you the plan of Dr. Baxter, the dream, the vision that the Lord has left with him to have the Baxter Christian Academy at the old Lincoln School. And so we're sharing with board members our vision. And then I have the vision that was given to me that we have a K-8 school on the campus of Whitehall School that is closed now in the same community that we'll be showing you on this coming Sunday at 7 o'clock. But you need to see this. Ladies and gentlemen, get up out of the bed. Take a look at what's going on in your community. Stand in the gap. Because I tell you what, the greatest gapper is the Lord Jesus Christ. He's been standing in the gap ever since he died on Calvary for all of us. And it's time, regardless to the color of your skin, it's time to stand in the gap for all children. Join us in this battle. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we all have been blessed in dark places. If you go back and read your Bible, it talks about all of your great leaders of the Bible chosen by God. They all went through dark places in their life. While Moses killed a man and wandered on the backside of the mountain for 40 years. And you can look at all of the people of God that was chosen as leaders, went through dark places. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lord knows that I've went through some dark places in my life. But one thing about it, when you come out of the dark places, you can see the face of God and you can see your mission. It was then that when I come out of my dark places, that I was able to know that God was calling me to stand in the gap for the children. And nothing can deter what I'm going to do. I'm going to stand in the gap. I'm no better than anybody else, but I'm as well as anybody. I'm as good as anyone. That's what I wanted to say. So I never let that bother me. When I was among the first 12 blacks that went to integrated school, God was orchestrating that to make sure that I was at that place to get that what I need. Because in 2014 and on, you're going to be standing in the gap for children. I want you prepared. God made sure he never send you out unless he prepare you. And so we was prepared to stand in the gap. So at that time, I have always been told by my mother and my father that you are better than no one, but as good as any. And so that stayed in my mind. So it doesn't make any difference to the color of the skin. I want all children to make sure they get a quality education. I like to know what the hell who are you standing in the gap for? Are you standing in the gap for Master? Master doesn't care about you or your kids. Our children are reading below grade level. unable to, even with courtesy. We was on one of the college campuses in my city of Jackson, in my hometown. And all the way through the administration building to meet with the president, we ran into students. And not one of the students said good morning. All of them was so busy doing whatever, they didn't even speak. Our courtesy, which mama said, always speak. Said excuse me, said thank you. Right now, kids, I was at a restaurant, kid kept walking back and forth in front of me, never said anything. Mama didn't say nothing either. We got to do something, ladies and gentlemen. Our kids are growing up, but I got to get to the academy that we, University School of Jackson that we attended. But listen. When the people of Egypt looked back and saw the army coming, they thought it was all over for them. But when they watched Pharaoh get drowned in the Red Sea, they knew then they would not have to look back again. I'm asking you to join me, stand in the gap with Reverend Baxter and I, and to make sure that we get it right this time for the children, so that we don't have to look back and say what they didn't do, and make sure that all children get a quality education. Why don't you join us? Ladies and gentlemen, let me quickly say this because the clock on the wall says I got to get out of here. Let me share this with you, and I got a few more notes, and I'm going to let you go home early today. It's a nice fall day, and I want you to enjoy some of it. But let me say this. On the show that we'll have, not this Sunday, but next Sunday on Channel 39 at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Gospel on the Move, we toured one of the private schools. Ladies and gentlemen, in my hometown, there's 93 private schools, and all of them are Christian schools. So in public schools, we can't give God the praise. The greatest gap, or the one who stood in the gap for all of our sins. We can't praise God in our public school system. So they withdrew their children, Melanie and Todd, and created private schools. And all look at Jackson Christian School, Trinity Christian School, Sacred Hearts of Jesus, St. Mary's School. They're all Christian-based schools. And they're creating academies and preschools in their churches. And not one of our churches have a preschool for our children of color. But yet on Sunday morning, who can beat us with all our little dressed up flocks on, worshiping, as we say, and praising God, and then leave the church, and we don't see them again until Wednesday night or next Sunday, and we say we're standing in the gap for children. Donald Trump, if he was sitting next to me, he said, "You are lying, the truth ain't with you." But ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad thing, but we had an opportunity to go by the University of Tennessee, University of Jackson, and which is a private schools. It started out on Hollywood as the old Hickory Academy, and then, ladies and gentlemen, they moved out and built them a campus. I wish those of you who are in the Jackson, Tennessee area, you coming through Jackson, it's out on the McClary Road. Get an opportunity. Go by the University School of Jackson, one of the first private schools in Jackson, and you would think that you're on a college campus in our university campus in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Baxter was not blown away. He had been there before. But I was totally blown away to watch that camp. And we drove in, and ducks on the pond as we come in, the grass so manicured, the building spacious, no paper on the ground, the pavement, I could have sat on it and not got dirty. It's just a campus that you need to witness. And it has a high school on the campus, a middle school, and the elementary, all on the same campus. You don't even have to leave the campus. You can go straight through from preschool all the way through high school. And ladies and gentlemen, we got a chance to meet and talk with the headmaster. He was so polite and everything and talked to us. But yet I run into some people that I know in my own community, been knowing me for a long time. And some I just met. And they so busy trying to stop me from making sure that all the children get a quality. Mr. Miller, you're not happy. The hell happy got to do with what I'm talking about. In place of saying, I'm going to join you. When people that don't look like us, come on now, this is a class of straight talk, treat you better than your own people. And what the hell is the world coming to? But we was treated very well while we was on that campus. And ladies and gentlemen, we were so impressed with what was going on there. And we got people in the community, in that community, that has put a lot of money into that campus. And that campus has a soccer field, 2 or 3 baseball fields, tennis court, state-of-the-art locker room, gymnasium. Everything is there. My question is, why the hell we can't do something like that? You always trying to play Mr. Big Shot and Miss Big Shot. What the hell you got to show for it? With your broke self. Faking it. I guess you're faking it till you can make it. What a sad commentary. But I had to share that with you. Now let me take a real quick break, and we're going to let you get out of here and get your weekend started. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the old clock on the wall, and my wife says that it's time to get out of here. And let me mention 3 things, and I'm going to let you out of class. Some of the people who come around us and around our children are like Superman and Kryptonite. And you know, when on the Superman movie, when the Joker and people would come around Superman, who was one of the strongest people in the world, with kryptonite, it would weaken Superman and they would be able to capture him and tie him down. But ladies and gentlemen, some of our so-called leaders and people of faith have been around us too long. And we have allowed them to be like kryptonite. When they come around in the boardroom, in the city council, in the county commission, and in the other places, they are like kryptonite. They surround our children and weaken our children, and then our children are being held captive and given inferior education because we won't stand up and join Professor Meriwether and Baxter and fight to make sure that kryptonite people with that kryptonite attitude stay away from our children. Everything that God made was good and perfect. God says, love our neighbors. Our neighbors is everybody. It's not white neighbors, black neighbors, brown neighbors, but neighbors. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do something. Ladies and gentlemen, I stop and think that if I was not a risk taker, I've been taking risks all my life. I was a member of the NAACP, the Advancement for Colored People, even before I even turned 19. I've always had an interest in helping those who was downtrodden. And so, ladies and gentlemen, those without voices. I was a risk taker, willing to take risks back then. My classmate would tell you Professor Meriwether was something back when he was in school. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, God likes risk takers. I could have played it cool, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd probably be living next door right now to people who don't want to be with me, driving a big car, running around playing golf with Mr. Charlie. If I had not been a risk taker, but I was standing in the gap way back then, going to city council meetings, standing up and speaking for people whose homes was not right, children who was not being able to catch the bus over here. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the dumbest things that I know I heard this week is that there was a newscast on our local WBBJ that the school buses routes was crowded. It came out from the system that there was no crowdedness on the school buses. And ladies and gentlemen, so some of the bus drivers, 6 or 7 of them, went to the station to complain that the buses are overcrowded. He says it's unsafe. Kids are sitting on the edge of the seat. I can't see out the back window because of the book bags. And during the summer, it was 100 and some degrees in there. It was too hot. Too many kids on the route. He said, we just want the safety of the children. This is the bus driver saying, we want the safety of the children. But the system of Madison County responded by saying, they lying. Now, they didn't say the word lying. That's Meriwether. But they say it is no truth that not any of the buses are overcrowded. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the bus driver ought to know what's an overcrowded bus is like, and they driving the bus. These people who are saying it is not overcrowded, hell, they hadn't even rode the bus. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's how do you think that made the bus driver who are carrying precious cargo to school every day feel? I would feel they don't give a damn. They don't care. So, ladies and gentlemen, the bus driver who spend their time making sure that the kids get to school, if the bus drivers don't bring the kids to school, then I, as administrator, I can't get paid because there's nobody here. So they're important. The bus drivers are just important as the board members and the superintendents of school. That's Meriwether talking. Everybody's important. God said it, not Meriwether. Everybody's important. He made us all in his image. Why have we gotten to the point that we don't like certain people? And God says, I made all of you all in the same image. It doesn't make sense. So on yesterday before this class, I noticed a bus going down Highland Street here in my hometown. And I got behind the bus and noticed that it was crowded. And I said, well, maybe it ain't crowded on the side. So I changed lanes and I got on the side of it at the red light when the bus would stop so I can get a real good view, let my window down and look. The bus was overcrowded. There were kids everywhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen. The feeling from the bus drivers are damaged because the system says that they're not. And not only did I share this, I went and shared it with one of the board members, what I observed, and that the bus was not crowded. The bus was crowded. And that I said, and then I never heard anything from any of the people in the central office. It just said on the screen, the system says they lying. It's not overcrowded. Now, how do I know what's in Walmart and I'm sitting at home? Come on now. Now, these are the people that are making all this money. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm talking about. It's time out for all this lying. That's what Donald Trump meant when he said, your schools are bad. Your communities are bad. Hell, Donald Trump even know what's going on. And you don't know what's going on because you don't want to join Mr. Meriwether, or Professor Meriwether, and Ruffin Baxter. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get out of here. I'm getting excited and getting emotional about this thing here. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next week, the devil called me with my head down and got excited. And I looked up and said, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, only what you do for Christ will last. Not where you live, not where your students attend schools. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm so very proud. Reverend Baxter's daughter this year is one of the 5 applicants or students that was accepted at Vanderbilt University Law School. You know, they only let 5 of us go a year because they're regulating us. How many is going to be out there able to know all the law and rules and regulations, keep up with them and stop them from all the mess they want to do, some of them. So Reverend Baxter's daughter, he just not out there with me every day. He and his wife has done a marvelous job, and all of the credit can't go to Reverend Baxter and his wife. Credit has to go to God. God made sure that one of the people that are joining me on this battle, that has went on well. And I look back at my daughter. My daughter has done well in school. And it went on, and now she's business manager at one of the local schools over in the next county. So, ladies and gentlemen, and my grandson is off in college at Middle Tennessee State, getting a degree in journalism. My oldest sister, retired as a CPA, and one in Australia, she is a small business administrator. And then I have one that's in Nashville area, which is a professor and retiring this coming December. And I have another one that's retired from the school system. God has blessed this old boy, and I'm going to continue to do his will. You do what the hell you think you want to do. And please, if you're not going to help me, then get the hell out of the way and let me do my thing and quit running your mouth and talking about me, because you didn't talk about me when I wasn't doing anything. You only started talking about me when I started doing something, and I started making sure that everybody get a quality education. Then Professor Meriwether is a bad man. He's an angry black man. Yeah. Well, whatever you say, I'm not going to pay no attention to you. Get the hell out of the way. Let me finish my task. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Morris Meriwether, the author of Straight Talking, Room 503, and the author of Enough is Enough. Public education has spiraled out of control. And don't forget to check out Channel 39 this Sunday morning. Channel 39 from 7 to 8, Gospel on the Move with Reverend Baxter. We're going to get into the East Jackson community, let you know the people who have left their footprint in the sea of time and made it possible for us. And then next Sunday, we're going to be right back, and we're going to take a look at our community again in our public education system and give you a tour of one of the private schools. So ladies and gentlemen, again, take care, have a blessed week, and I look forward to talking to you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out to listen to this show. I'm not taking you for granted. I appreciate you. And so ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again, till the Lord says the same, I'll see you again. Take care now. Love you, and remember that God loves you too.